Live from the Scripps Studios, this is 10 News.
President Trump's impeachment trial is underway, but there is a contentious battle unfolding over how it will proceed. Good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Lindsay Pena. Democrats are accusing Republicans of trying to rush through the process, but Republicans say it was the Democrats who rushed to impeachment. ABC's Serena Marshall is on Capitol Hill with a look at what's at stake.
The Senate will convene as a court of impeachment.
The trial to impeach President Trump underway on Capitol Hill.
All persons are commanded to keep silent on pain of imprisonment.
As the two teams debate the rules for the trial. What have they agreed to? Each side getting 24 hours over 3 days to make their opening statements, followed by up to 16 hours of questioning from senators and the evidence from the House automatically admitted into the record. But big disagreements remain, namely on new witnesses and evidence. The First Amendment to compel evidence from the White House.
It's remarkable that after taking the action of the breathtaking gravity of voting to impeach the duly elected President of the United States, and after saying for weeks that they had overwhelming evidence to support their case, the first thing that the House managers have done upon arriving finally in this chamber after waiting for 33 days is to say, well, actually, we need more evidence.
We are ready. The House calls John Bolton. The House calls John Bolton. The House calls Mick Mulvaney. Let's get this trial started, shall we? We are ready to present our case. We are ready to call our witnesses. The question is, will you let us?
Debated for nearly the full 2 hours, falling along a party line vote. The next amendment to the rules, subpoenaing certain documents from the Department of State. That amendment also failing along party lines. We're told Senator Schumer has several he plans to introduce, but Mitch McConnell confident he has the votes to kill them all. But this does not mean the fight over witnesses is over. After opening arguments, after senators questioning, there will still be that up or down vote on witnesses. Senator Susan Collins, one of the moderates, saying that's when she would like to consider witnesses like the president's former national security advisor, John Bolton. As for the president, he did weigh in overseas as things got underway, tweeting simply, read the transcripts. On Capitol Hill, Serena Marshall, ABC News.
Back here at home, several roads are closed after a huge sinkhole opened up in South Crest. That sinkhole is in the middle of a busy intersection, South 38th and Z Streets. Right now, Z Street between South 37th and 39th Streets, they are closed. South 38th Street between Newton and Alpha, they're also closed. San Diego police say that a ruptured water pipe caused that sinkhole earlier this afternoon. You can see the water was just gushing there. The hole is about the size of an SUV, too. City crews shut off the water, leaving about 55 customers without water service.
It's a pretty big hole. I hope that they get it fixed, so when it's time for my neighbors to come home, it's easier for them to get to their house.
And no word yet on how long repairs will take or when the water service will be restored. 2 drivers walked away with only minor injuries after a nasty collision near the airport. Harbor police tell us that a sedan was turning left from Pacific Highway onto Sassafras, heading to the rental car center. That's when it collided with a small tour van coming southbound on Pacific Highway. The van rolled onto its side and then hit a light post. Firefighters had to cut the van's windshield to get the driver out. There were no passengers in either vehicle at the time. No one had to be taken to the hospital.
We have new information about a La Mesa business owner who was arrested for attacking news crews outside his clothing store while they were trying to ask him about accusations of inappropriate behavior. 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala has more.
Peter Cars is growing frustrated outside of his store Monday afternoon, lashing out as he was confronted by local news crews following up on allegations of a couple of misdemeanors he was accused of over the weekend: a lewd act in public and battery. Tuesday morning, he was arrested, now facing charges of misdemeanor battery and felony vandalism for the incident involving the media.
Obviously, he wasn't thinking. It just makes me sad. It breaks my heart.
Deanne Ross owns Act 2, the business next door to Cars's. She says she personally has never had any issues with him, and the recent behavior has been surprising. It's not the man she knows.
He was a nice man to me and to many people, but then I also knew there was another side to him.
And court records reveal that Karzis has been in trouble before, a couple of DUI charges from 2013 and 2 civil filings from 2013 and 2015, claims of harassment and requests for restraining orders from a former neighbor and a friend renting a room from Karzis. Both said they were scared of him and his anger. They also heard from people who say they were treated poorly by him while shopping in his store.
He pinched my stomach, grabbed my stomach and said, "You need to lose weight."
Melanie Stowe reported that incident but says there were never any charges brought against Karzis. Other business owners on La Mesa Boulevard, though, told us off camera that they've never had any issues with him over the last several years and they worry he needs help. As for Ross, she hopes the recent incidents don't scare people away from La Mesa Boulevard.
We have so many wonderful stores, so many wonderful places people can eat and shop, and I hope it doesn't deter other people from coming here, because one bad seed isn't the whole village.
Now, La Mesa police tell me that Karzis is under arrest, but he is not yet in jail because he has not been medically cleared. We're live in La Mesa. Mimi Alcala, 10 News.
Justice is finally being served for Joey, Summer, Gianni, and Joseph.
Strong words for the man convicted of killing a family of 4 who disappeared from their Fallbrook home almost 10 years ago. Today, the family of Joseph McStay came face to face with Charles Merritt as he waited to be sentenced for his crimes. As our 10 News anchor Vanessa Ben Hefty shows us, he is now facing the death penalty.
The McStay family has been waiting for this day for almost a decade. They gave gut-wrenching statements today, and for the first time, we heard from Chase Merritt himself.
I did not do this thing.
Chase Merritt wiped away tears, saying the judge and jury got it wrong, sentencing him to death.
That the defendant, Charles Merritt, be sentenced to death.
The jury convicted Merritt of the gruesome deaths of Joseph and Summer McStay and their 2 young sons. Their bodies found in a shallow grave with the sledgehammer Merritt used to bludgeon them after a failed business partnership. Joseph McStay's son from a previous marriage addressing his father's killer.
I fight each and every day to mend the wounds left by someone who, instead of healing, sought to destroy others, my family, for their own personal gain.
And Joseph's mother locking eyes with Merritt, calling him the face of evil.
Chase, you are a low-life coward and a baby killer, and labeled that. Just a monster.
Merritt already vowing to appeal.
I did not do this thing. I know you do not believe this. And that kills me.
Saying he was given an unfair trial, blaming prosecutors, police, the judge, and even the McStay family.
And as God is my witness, I will be back here and I will prove to everyone that that is true.
The McStay family says they are happy with the verdict and that the jury got it right. In San Bernardino, Vanessa Ben Hefty, 10 News.
A neighbor helped rescue a woman and her baby after their garage caught fire. Flames broke out around 9 o'clock this morning at this home on Dahlia Street in Imperial Beach. A next-door neighbor teaches golf, but his lessons were canceled because of the rain this morning, so he came back home just in time. That mother was asleep and did not even know her house was on fire.
And when I pulled in the driveway, I could smell smoke. Couldn't see it, but I could smell it. And then I looked around and I noticed it was coming out of the neighbor's house. Almost like it was just a barbecue.
Well, he tried to put out the fire with a garden hose, but it started to spread to the house, so he banged on the door to get the mother and the baby out safely. Her husband wasn't home at the time and had taken their other child to school. Firefighters knocked down those flames. Nobody was injured. That's the good news. The cause is under investigation.
Turning now to our weather, we saw a little bit of rain earlier today across the county, but that sun will be back soon.
Our meteorologist Angelica Campos joins us here with a look at a warm-up that's headed our way.
That's right, guys. A beautiful day today, though. Even though we had a couple of showers this morning, conditions are improving and we are going to see some changes. So let me show you what's actually happening out there. An area of low pressure making its way out of here and now into the Four Corners. All that moisture is moving into Texas, but there's still some leftover moisture that could potentially bring the chance of a few leftover showers. If it does happen, it's going to be minor and it should not create any concerns for this evening. As we get a little bit closer and closer, let's see if we switch this over to our pinpoint Doppler live and actually is looking really nice around the county. Now, as we break it down hour by hour, in downtown San Diego, temperatures will stay in the upper 50s through the hour, then dropping into the low 50s tonight, but recovering nicely tomorrow. Average daytime high for San Diego is 65 degrees, and tomorrow temperatures should be back to near normal, warmer by Thursday and Friday.
All right, thanks, Angelica. A fifth body was discovered on the same Tijuana property owned by a Garden Grove couple who was also found there last week. Mexican police say they found the body yesterday. Over the weekend, investigators found the bodies of another man and woman. Earlier this month, Jesus Guiana and Maria Lopez went missing after traveling to Tijuana to collect rent from apartments they owned there. Authorities later found their bodies buried underneath the floor of the house. Their son-in-law, Santiago, is being held in connection with their death.
Now to a health alert. There are growing concerns over the potentially deadly coronavirus from China, which has spread now into the U.S. The first patient has been identified in Washington state.
As ABC's Romina Puga explains, the CDC believes the risk to the American public remains low.
The CDC confirmed the first case of the coronavirus in the U.S. A man in his 30s identified in Washington state. He's in good condition, currently hospitalized for short-term monitoring and not due to severe illness. The virus originated in Wuhan, China last month and spread into 3 neighboring countries and now the U.S. Health officials set up checkpoints at U.S. airports LAX, San Francisco, and New York's Kennedy Airport, and today announced it will add Chicago's O'Hare and Atlanta's airport to check the temperatures of passengers arriving from Wuhan, looking for symptoms that mimic the common cold, flu, or pneumonia. The patient from the Seattle area traveled from Wuhan before the screenings were set up and without symptoms. Late Monday, health officials confirmed fears that the virus can spread from human to human, but it's unclear how easily. In one case, all 14 medical workers who were treating one patient in China contracted the virus, bringing up the possibility of a super spreader like SARS, or severe acute respiratory syndrome.
That's one person who can literally infect hundreds or thousands of people.
At least 6 people have died from the coronavirus in China so far. The CDC has been proactively preparing for the introduction of the virus in the U.S., alerting clinicians weeks ago to be on the lookout for patients with respiratory symptoms and a history of travel to Wuhan. They're sharing diagnostic tests and rerouting flights from Wuhan to airports with active screenings. Romina Puga, ABC News, Los Angeles.
And here's what you need to know about the coronavirus. Symptoms mimic cold, a runny nose, cough, sore throat, and maybe a fever. There is no treatment. Most of the time, symptoms will go away on their own. There is no vaccine, but you may be able to reduce your risk by avoiding people who are sick and washing your hands often.